We have extremely low, indeed record lows of prosecutions and convictions for rape. And the vast majority, in fact, of cases of rape go unreported. And some of that is in terms of women's lack of confidence and trust within the police. Others that do report experience tremendous amounts of victim blaming or rape myths.
Top story today, and of course it was our top story yesterday. We broke the news on our programme yesterday that the comedian and actor Russell Brand has been accused of rape, sexual assault and emotional abuse over a 7-year period at the height of his fame. Today, a women's charity, Trevi, has cut ties with the comedian after the allegations have come to light. Now, the allegations are from a very intense joint investigations by the Sunday Times, the Times newspaper, and Channel 4 dispatches. The human rights barrister, Dr. Charlotte Proudman, who has a long sort of record of specialising in cases which involve violence against women and girls. Charlotte, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I mean, one of the things, Charlotte, that I have, my Twitter line is really flooded with today after I did some tweeting, is a sort of an avalanche of people saying, well, why didn't these women come forward earlier? Why don't they just go to the police? Why didn't they just go through the court system? What's your reaction to that? And just shed a bit of light on what it is like for victims of rape, sexual assault to sort of navigate the criminal justice system.
Well, the evidence is overwhelming in showing just how difficult it is for women and girls to report, whether it's domestic abuse, sexual violence, or even rape to the police. We know from Baroness Casey's report that the Metropolitan Police is regarded as equivalent to institutionally misogynist. We have extremely low, indeed record lows of prosecutions and convictions for rape. And the vast majority, in fact, of cases of rape go unreported. And some of that is in terms of women's lack of confidence and trust within the police. Others that do report experience tremendous amounts of victim blaming or rape myths. So, for example, what they were wearing or they were asking for it in some way. They may have been intoxicated or, they may have been, rather than being groomed, have actually wanted to have that relationship with that individual. That's the way it's portrayed sometimes. And so many women and girls that go through that process speak about how re-traumatizing and re-victimizing it is. So I think seeing the incredible and credible investigative journalist work that Rosamond and others have done in shining a light on these allegations concerning Russell Brand that many have known about for, a good number of years, I think is extremely impressive. And, it does beg the question as to, certainly in some cases, why the police are not doing such a good job when it comes to investigations for those that do decide to report. And I know that many of the accusations on social media are that this is, in inverted commas, trial by social media. But in many respects, that's a symptom or a reflection of how the justice system is failing women and girls. So precisely for this reason, that they want to get their allegations out. And by doing that, they're protecting often other women and girls who could also be victims of many other individuals, not just Russell Brand's, because of course there are allegations, but could also fall as prey. And, I think that's incredibly brave and courageous of them to do that. And I think, whether it's the papers or people on social media should reflect upon how they respond to these allegations, particularly given, as we know, how endemic and prevalent male violence against women and girls is.
And I think you're absolutely right there. I think the sort of the lack of trust that a lot of women have had for a number of many years now with the criminal justice system when it comes to bringing these cases forward. When a big story like this comes to the fore, Charlotte, and women see the explosion of publicity, they then see the enormous backlash that comes to the women who have put themselves forward. And as Ros has said, these women are not doing it for fame or fortune. They're anonymous. They haven't been paid a penny, but people still see the backlash. You're a criminal, you're a barrister, you want people to use the criminal justice system. But is there a worry that a lot of women, particularly young women, just say, I don't want the backlash, I don't trust the system, I'm not going to engage with the system?
Well, the evidence shows, and it's not just those that work in the criminal justice system, the family justice system, or the civil justice system, but independent evidence outside of that, whether it's from London's Victims Commissioner or the Domestic Abuse Commissioner. It shows clearly, Aisha, that women's and girls' trust and confidence in the police in terms of reporting rape and other forms of violence against them is at a record low. And part of that is because of the backlash that they may indeed suffer, whether from the police themselves and some of the attitudes, or within the justice system, whether that's potentially going through their phone records, their therapeutic notes, intimate personal material, which therefore leaves them open to questions about potentially their sexual history, which can still happen, however rare it may be. And so you can understand the reluctance of women coming forwards, and no doubt them seeing the kinds of messages that are on social media after what we've seen in terms of the reports concerning Russell Brand are really worrying. I mean, it's misogynistic and it's absolutely vile. And again, it plays on those myths and tropes, doesn't it? That these women are manipulative. They're doing it because they have something to gain. They want fame and glory. They want to bring Russell Brand down. They have a personal vendetta. It's the same kind of myths that you see play out, unfortunately, in court.